Probably going to be last week.
Hello, good evening. My apologies for starting late, but we were working actually all day so that we could make sure that we provided you as promised with a counter proposal. Welcome to everybody in the audience. Thank you for coming. Am I talking loud enough? Sort of? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and have Phyllis project our proposal so that as I go through it, you can follow along. So Justin, what I'd like to do is I'm going to start with supplements first, and then we'll move to compensation.
You have anything else? Do you have anything else? Or just those two?
No, I think that this will be
Enough
plenty
us
of
to-
work
enough
for
us to
them.
work on?
Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of look at yours and look at mine at the same time so that we can make sure as we go through. So the first piece is that we are in agreement to move for the 21-22 school year to $250 per point. But what we'd like to do is strike through any additional commitments to increases because of the addition of the sentence in E, that the committee will meet a minimum of once a year. So we feel like that is the committee's work and the committee's job to come and make recommendations. If we put annual increases in here, then they're just, if they come back with different increases, then they're just superseding or trying to renegotiate something that we have already negotiated. So we would like for that to actually be committee work. And so today we are going to commit to 250 and just go start there. The next piece is we left the language regarding the ESOL reading or gifted endorsement as is. As we started to kind of get into the information and start looking at it, we also feel like this is work that the committee needs to do. How many people, how many would have more than one? How fast would the pot be eaten up if we did go to 250? Because if you think about it, it's $1,000 and then it's only 250 supplements that you can give. And so how many people actually have 3? How many only have 2? Would it be better to just stay at 1? And so we're going to recommend that we leave that and then the committee get together and can make recommendations for next school year. We are committing to moving differentiated pay up from $500,000 to $1 million as you have requested. So we're putting that in the language.
Kathy,
Yes, sir.
can we go back a page?
Yeah.
You want, so you're leaving in there, so you added back in what was structured, okay? And then
Correct.
next, number 3, you still want them to be 4 continuous years of service.
We
So you
added,
don't- okay.
we added back in everything that was struck through.
So you don't want to position this as an enticement to recruit people.
Correct. Correct.
You want them to work here for 4 years before they can get $500.
For this current year, yes. If the committee wants to do some work and try to determine if that is something that should be changed, they can certainly do that. But as of right now, this language of the supplement contract, we would like to leave the same. So again, in M, going to differentiated pay, we are willing to increase that from $500,000 to $1 million going forward. On additional supplements for department chairs, you asked for 165 We actually went along with your 22%, which you did from the 196 to 250. And so we made that 157, again, staying consistent.
7.5% is what we corrected. The advanced supplements is 22.44, but that's advanced degrees.
Okay.
27.5 for supplements.
Yes,
So
okay.
this change, can we do the math? real quick?
Yes, please.
For the difference here.
It was 22
20,
for that.
rounded to 22%.
Yes. Okay. So again, just for clarification, it was 22% change from the 196 to the 250, and then we did the same.
196 to 250 is 27.5%.
20.
The master's degree was 22%.
Okay, we'll get to
All
that in
advanced.
next.
All of it.
22.4.
So that comes to a maximum of $1,884 for the department chair, guidance chair, team lead, etc. For the 7th period supplements, again, same thing. Our counter is that we're just going to leave the language the way that it is. And if the committee work wants to go and do some research, try and have some information to kind of back that up. I will tell you at this time, we don't have issues with getting people to want to teach 7th period supplements. We actually have talked to our high school principals, and they say that they have people who are always willing to do this, so it is not a struggle. Not to say that it isn't something that in the future we would want to relook at, but at this time, because we're kind of giving in other areas, this is an area that we're going to ask for full time on. St. John's Tech, we signed an MOU, so we're going to ask to leave that as is with the MOU for the 2,500. And then the piece regarding the countywide middle school athletics.
Yeah, can I ask why you wouldn't want to put that in the contract?
Because, as you know, we passed across games transitions. We may want to grow that. We may want to add to it. We may want to look at other schools and see if other schools need to be added. So we have our MOU for this year, and we'd like to just kind of pull tight with what's in there and not add the language at this time.
Yeah, the question comes, how many years in a row do you do an MOU before it's worth putting in the contract? You don't want it in the contract because it'd be hard to get out.
Well, then I would have said that we shouldn't have signed the MOU.
Yeah.
So the MOU
Well,
is
I mean, we
signed
just
for
keep
this
doing it
year.
every year. It
Correct.
makes sense to put it. I don't think the circumstances under which they work at St. John's Tech High School going to change so substantially that would be some kind of burden financially, or I don't see a big deal putting it in the contract after you sign so many in a row.
Okay, well, I'm just going to tell you the answer is no today.
Okay.
Then regarding the countywide middle school athletics liaison, we struck through that. We think that there's work that the committee can do. We are trying to gather information. We think the committee needs to gather information. What is it that the intramural coordinator is supposed to do that is already getting a supplement? What's the difference? How do they already come together? How much work is truly being placed on? We need to talk to our principals. Do they truly feel like they're being burdened with having to, because there was mention about principals and assistant principals having to do some of this work. We haven't talked to them about if they really feel burdened. Is $2,000 the right amount of the supplement? Is it not the right amount of the supplement? So we just didn't feel like we had enough information or data to make a decision to add that type of a supplement at this time.
If they didn't see it as a burden, they wouldn't pass it off to a volunteer.
Is it volunteer or is it the intramural coordinator
It has to be a
or
volunteer. Okay.
It is a volunteer this year that created,
at every single school?
no, one individual person created the schedule.
It's $2,000 for the district for the year. That's what we're proposing.
Yes, so I misspoke. There's one individual that created a K-8 schedule
Mhm.
and one individual that created the middle school
So this would be a $4,000 cost.
But our proposal was just one person to do both.
Okay, so it's a $2,000 cost.
Yes.
So we're saying not now.
Just seems so.
Well, but there are all kinds of supplements you could bring forward and just say, oh, we need this. But we need to really look into,
But this has been discussed. This didn't come out of thin air.
it's been discussed among yourselves.
Yeah.
But
But I mean,
No,
if there was
not
a
us.
committee met, like we keep talking about a committee should do the work. The committee did the work and here's the proposal and you're saying no.
no, wait a minute,
The
a
committee-
committee of teachers did this. Where
With a
was?
principal,
It was
led by a
presented to us
principal.
by a principal.
It's like the committee met and
Wait a
did the
minute.
work and now we propose it and you say no.
So, you know what?
Oh.
No, you're gonna
It's
get that
very
back and I'm gonna
frustrating.
give it back to you because
Go
that
ahead.
was not a supplement committee.
Go ahead.
That was a committee that met together to talk about some kind of middle school intramural discussions. That was not a committee of people on your team and
It
people
was
on
as
our
effective as
team.
what you call a committee. When you refer to committees, you have this idea of what a committee does. And when you go to it, you actually experience it, it's totally different. It's not reality. What you think a committee does is we go there and we sit and listen to whoever the district person is presenting to us. And they say, here's what it is. I have the agenda sent to me already for the EEE committee for next April's meeting. How do you know what's on the agenda 6 months ahead of the committee meeting? What you think of as a committee is not reality. I'm sorry, it's just not.
So
And when
if
I
we
say
just-
you, I mean you plural.
No, I get that. So if we had a committee meeting and we just met with people and we brought something forward to you and said, this is what it was, I think you would have issue as well and say, look, we want to be a part of that. And we
We
want to
do,
have
but we're not in the
conversations.
committees, we're not. So we resort to negotiating because this is the way to ratify things like this.
You're using
committee
one
doesn't make
committee
these
as an
decisions.
example. You're using one committee as an
The
example.
insurance committee,
I'm sorry, I know, no, sir.
oh, because that's yours.
No,
It's
you're
not
offended.
anymore, but I would say, I would turn around to Kelly Abbott-Nosy, Michelle Dillon, and let me hear that they have to say that that is not a valid committee that works together collectively.
Okay, so when the decision was made to close a clinic and do only COVID testing, the committee discussed that ahead of time.
I'm not on that, so I need to defer to somebody in my committee to talk about that.
One of the health centers was shut down and only did COVID testing.
Okay.
And that was discussed in the committee ahead of time.
Okay.
No? It wasn't.
I don't know, okay, so then at the next meeting, did they bring it up and say, hey, I feel offended that this was done without?
Was there a change in vision recently? Was it discussed in the insurance committee?
Justin, I'm not on that committee, so I need to defer to people that are on my team regarding change in vision.
No, just gonna move on.
Okay,
We're not gonna come together on this.
we're not,
The way you see a committee and the way we see a committee is
Correct.
just too different right now.
correct.
Let's move on and get to
Okay,
hopefully good news.
okay. So, all right, so let me give you a commitment from me, okay?
Okay.
A commitment from me, because I hope in working with me, Kathy Weber, I will serve on the supplement committee, okay, with whomever you choose, so that that person feels comfortable in having somebody that they can talk to and say, this is or this isn't what it should be, okay? So I'll be there, I will sign up, and so I will make sure collaboratively with whoever you put on that committee and whomever is with me, that we do it the right way.
I think that it would be important that as if a committee should come up with an agenda together.
Okay,
The agenda should not be dictated ahead of time. The committee should be working with the other side to say, what is it, union, you would like to see at the AAA meeting? Or what is it, union, you would like to see at the supplement committee? Here are our agenda items. Here is management's agenda items, and let's come together.
Tammy, we've been saying the same thing.
I know that, but I want to make that clear,
okay,
because that is, since I've been here, it has not happened.
okay.
Insurance works a little bit differently, I understand that, but most of the committees, it is literally management telling us what we're going to do.
Okay.
So
We
if
are
we
not-
can
we
commit
are
to do
not
that-
gonna- I will tell you, we will not do that.
Okay,
with the supplement committee, I will make sure of that.
And I would ask Wayne, as probably the chair of the AAA committee, that he reaches out to Michelle and work on an agenda together, please.
I don't think you should change it.
I don't know whoever the chair is. Whoever, Kathy, I'm sorry. Melinda. Okay, Melinda, Kathy, Wayne, I don't know. Please reach out to Michelle and ask, what is it that the union would like to see on that committee?
The issue with student data performance scores rose to the level that it did. I put myself on the EEE committee. So I admire you for putting yourself on the committee and putting yourself out there for that. It does a little bit to remove the frustration right now, but this is not a new issue for us. So I hope you realize that. Okay?
All
Let's
right,
keep moving.
okay. So obviously I left struck through the way that you had struck through because we need to recalculate based upon the $250 that you asked for.
Correct.
The one that I did want you to look at in red is Florida High School Athletic Association has sanctioned beach volleyball for next school year.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that we add that into the contract. And so I think we kept in your character counts, we kept in 1 point. Oh, here's what I need you to help me with. If you would please, we would like to, this is not that we don't want to eventually add this in. We do want to strike through performance matters in Schoology. And the reason why is because we believe that the points are, there's language that's going to need to go in here, okay? We have an MOU for this year, let's go with the MOU for this year. But again, it's because you just put in 1 and that would give somebody $250. But if you remember, we cited that if they have more students, they get 500. They could also get 750. We also have a TAC trainer that we want to make sure that we add in there. So we'd like to strike through that because there's language, you know, unless if you're in caucus and you want to kind of come up with language, but otherwise there's language that needs to go in there to make sure that people are paid accordingly.
Well, we can add that language if you won't say it's bargaining bad faith to come back with a 500 and a 250.
Well, that's what we
It's
have
clarifying
signed for,
language.
it is, yeah, I mean, that's what we have.
Yeah, but that's for this
school
year, right.
Yes, yes, so,
Ostensibly, the pot of money was different, but I don't know that because I don't write the checks, but that's my guess.
Would it be more appropriate to put it under exceptional supplements instead of under?
We could move almost verbatim
So
into
you-
exception.
you could come back with that. And I think that's it.
So you're moving the language to.
Into the contract is okay, it's
Yeah.
just, we didn't want
Got
to
it.
sign on something that you could put in at 250. That would not have been honest for us to just say, okay, and then all of a sudden pay people $250.
Yeah.
And they've been getting it. Okay. Any other questions on supplements? Okay, you're not asking anything, this is all. I think we can go to
It's alternate, I got one thing.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's an extra 4th copy in case you errantly, there's the gains MOU. I just cleaned it, took out the red. We have so it's ready to go. We'll take care of those people in diff pay.
Can you predict of when we can get these folks paid?
It says fall, and I know
Yeah.
that
Yeah, that will not be before,
Well, I figured not now,
January.
but January-ish, I would hope.
for
the
for
fall
this
part.
group.
Yes.
It depends on if you have to take this out to be ratified or not.
Okay,
You have to make that decision. I had a couple others
We'll let
that
you know.
wanted to take it
Yeah,
out.
that's fine.
Um,
We can get the full check. That would be better.
Okay. we will go ahead and pull up compensation, please. Okay, so we're gonna preface this with saying, kind of look at the whole thing, because we did it different. We did this the same as we did the language last year. So we followed along with that language. So I struck through all of yours, but that's not to say that there's not an offer coming.
Okay.
Okay, so if you go to page 2, okay, Phyllis. All right, same thing as a result of the bill. This will take effect on July 1st regarding compensation for instructional personnel with a start date on or before June 11th of 2021. So again, these are for people that worked at least one day last school year, because the people who were hired this year, whatever the placement schedule will be, is what their adjustment is going to be. Okay? Instructional personnel, with the exception of associate teachers, will have their base salary adjusted to $47,500 if their current 21-22 base salary is set below this value. So we are willing to put in the additional money to get people to $47,500. Well, why are we going to do that? Well, number one is it takes out that horrible 150% language that the state put in there about grandfathered teachers, and you have to make sure that you give them 150%. So we wanted to, number one, just get rid of that language right out of the gate. Number two is that we do know our surrounding counties are at $47,500. We saw that Duval County got to $47,500 last week. I called and confirmed with them today. We know that Flagler County is at $47,500.
Who else? You said surrounding is Putnam?
Correct. I don't believe Putnam is there yet, because I don't think they have the money to get there. They're in a different
About Flight?
financial circumstance.
About Flight, you know? Do you know about Flight?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Sorry, I wasn't
think of
looking
the
at you, I
top
just didn't hear you.
of my head.
No, it's okay. I know, I'm looking for something else. I was
Okay.
asking if you knew about Flight. They have TA, not ratified.
Okay.
They're not, we cannot say that they're at 47.
Okay. So moving on again with the same language, that we would ensure that those people that didn't get a 2% increase, that were below the $47,500, would get at least 2%. So if you were at $47,449, we're going to make sure that you get bumped up 2%. Instructional personnel whose base salary is currently over $47,500 and you're not part of the 2% group will receive a set amount of $1,242 added to their base salary. And then that leaves us back to pay for performance. And so for pay for performance, it would be $684 for grandfather, $685 performance effective, and $923 performance highly effective. So that would be a total of, for someone who was on the grandfathered schedule, it's about $1,900. For someone who is not on the grandfathered schedule but is still over $47,500, again, if they're effective, it's the same, about $1,900. And then if you are on pay for performance, you would get about a little $2,100. A little more than $2,100. We kept the language in there about instructional personnel that for the pay for performance piece, you had to have a 2021 St. Johns County School District final summative evaluation. And then if you're worth less than 100%, obviously your salary gets prorated. If you're hired this school year, you get set on the placement schedule. Now, I will tell you, Justin, I didn't do a new placement schedule. What I thought was we need to come up with what the pay is going to be before we go and create the new salary schedule. So I felt like if we kind of knew where we were going and could agree to where we're going and from the start, we could come up with a salary schedule to make sure people aren't leapfrogging over. And then for your associate teachers, because we were going to $47,500, we're asking to adjust them to $35,000 because we felt like leaving them at 30 is $17,500 difference is not really equitable. I'm gonna keep moving. You asked for advanced degree, and so we are willing to move on advanced degree by 3%. And so continuing with that, so for a master's, instead of $26.50, it would be $27.30. Specialist, $36.50 would be $37.60. We struck through master's plus 30 because that's not a conferred degree, so we don't believe that it meets the law. And then for PhD, from $46.50 to $47.90, and I copied all of that all the way down. And then I struck through the language about HR conducting any kind of a coursework analysis. Questions?
Can you, maybe I should have provided this to you when we proposed master's plus 30. Will you take this and just read it in caucus?
Yeah.
And discuss
Okay.
what that document might mean?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only have one of that, but just talk.
Okay.
Okay, so you're ready for questions?
Yes.
Okay, where did 1242 come from? 1,242.
So for 1242, we were working within a, value to try to get you as close to what the difference was 1935 for the people going from 45,535.
Gotcha, new base.
Yes, and so in doing the pay for performance, we were trying to get you as close to that piece as we could. So before we gave you 1,000 and those people got 6. And so this time we were trying to make it a little more equitable.
What are you calling this salary adjustment? The 1242, what are you calling it?
So in the contract, we just say that you will receive a set amount of $1,000 added to your base salary. So we will adjust. If you are currently at 50, we're going to adjust your salary to 51.
51,242.
Ouch.
Correct.
Plus performance.
Plus performance. Right. Correct.
And so that's a salary adjustment.
Correct. Correct. Like we did last year, we added $1,000 to your base pay last year. So same kind of.
Well, we had no performance. We had a choice.
Correct. Correct.
We propose something like an adjustment. What's the total compensation package? Do you have?
So
Number?
I believe we are at, where's that? Right there.
And let me know if it includes supplements or it's not.
So this package is worth $6.9 million.
Does that include supplements?
And so supplements would add additional million, almost a million.
That's about 0.9 plus supplements.
And so again, the 897 is what's from the TSIA. And so the district is obviously.
You're in for at least what, $1.5 million to just adding to the base, just to get to the 47.5, right?
Oh,
That probably is a
Oh, no.
$1.5 million or more.
yes.
1.8.
So the
You
12,
said it was 2.4 total to get there, or what did you say, 2.4 additional?
No, just add our portions of the P3.
Okay, so I can go back and pull it up. There was a cost to getting, like, the TSIA money is not enough to get to 47.5. We all agree.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
So the district is adding an additional what to get to? In your budget presentation, it was 2.4 million to get to that number. How are we so off?
So that and actually your 4.3 includes the 1242.
Correct.
Okay, you're just asking to get to 47.5 without the 1242.
Say that, I'm sorry.
It's about 1,600,000, 1,700,000. I mean, I have to go, I mean.
Additional.
Additional.
So you're,
I'm happy with the TSA.
you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
So somebody 2%, the closest you can get to 47.5 would be 2%, you'd be getting.
About
it'd be nine something,
$941,
Right,
yes.
so they'd be under the 1242.
They would, but then if they're eligible for pay for performance, they would get that, because remember, not everybody,
Has an evaluation.
well, some
Sorry,
of them
I
won't have an
didn't finish your
evaluation, that's okay.
There's a certain number of people that work here that will not get performance pay because they're working here now, but they're either in their first year or they don't have an evaluation that transfers. Right?
Correct.
It's from Delaware or whatever, right? So they wouldn't get a performance raise. They would
Correct,
only get the adjustment.
correct.
Do you mind, I open it to the team for questions? I don't think there are any, but
Sure.
now would be the
Yes.
time. Team, do you have any questions?
That's fine.
Okay,
How many associate teachers do we have currently? What was that cost out to move that dollar amount?
so we have about 89, and so do you have a one-year, oh, oops, I didn't have that. Sorry, I took papers.
So can you email me both? Do you mind? Can you email me both? Thank you.
Oh, here. Okay, so 52,000. No, I'm so sorry. That was for the percentage. The percentage teachers is 52,000. 445. 445,000
That's the cost of a
for the associate teachers,
To move up to
89 associate teachers moving to 35.
an additional 445 or a total of 445? How many do we have?
We have
Oh
89.
my God, okay, yeah.
$445,000.
Wow. No, we had 89. All right,
Good question. Go ahead, Morgan.
if you have a question, ask it,
It's
please.
not a question, but when you were talking about supplements, you wanted to know how many numbers of people would get this endorsement. Do you guys have those numbers that we can then calculate? How do we get access to the number of people that have the endorsement?
So that's why I had said this is something we could do in committee work, because then we could have HR pull all of that together, take a look at how many people they paid this year, how many people are submitting emails now, because December, I believe, is December one of the deadlines. And so that's why we were trying to let you know that we didn't want to just say no, we just wanted to say not in this go round, because we did not have enough data.
Okay.
But yes, can we get it? We can certainly get it.
Has that pot of money run out in past years?
Yes, oh, yes. And that's just with one, that's just with people getting one.
Yeah, well, we see it differently. We saw it
No,
as
sure.
a potential enticement.
Sure.
So we're just seeing that differently.
We are, and it could be an enticement, I get that, but it's also an unenticement for somebody if the money runs out even faster and you get 3 and I get 0, because.
But I
Because didn't
think,
read my
I think
email. You know, it could be anything. It could be any reason. But if I go out and get all 3, I mean, I guess I could wait till the next year and apply, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Go ahead,
I'm
Mark.
just saying, I think the way to look at it is we need teachers, right? I don't think somebody is going to leave the district because they didn't get their $500 this year, whereas that might entice somebody to come to our district because they are getting that $500 when they transfer over. So I think that's how we were looking at it.
I get that, and I think getting to 47.5 is more of an enticement than a supplement for an endorsement.
I mean, if everyone around us is at 47.5 already, then what do we have at the 2 times?
Everyone around you is not.
If we just,
Oh, you mean it's surrounding districts? Yeah, well, we have a really great district to work for.
we do.
That's what I'm gonna tell you, is we have a great district to work for.
Okay, we're gonna go caucus.
Okay, thank you.
Start with, 30, but.
Just text me.
Yeah.
Okay.